from 29 Palms, California, gateway to the Great Mojave Wilderness. Now is the time for Desert Oracle Radio, the voice of the desert.
Night is falling on the desert. Well, it's good to see humans. I haven't seen any for a year and a half. Except for Rob occasionally. RedBlueBlackSilver and Benham IV, who did our set here to open us up. Thanks very much. You're going to hear a lot of RedBlueBlackSilver over the course of the show tonight. I've got him in the computer networks now too. So. Well, it's night, and that's kind of a relief. How is it out there? How do you pronounce that? So finally it's the time of night when you can go outside and you can touch things again without gloves. That's real nice. You can leave your chihuahua outside the Circle K and it won't melt into the asphalt around that half-dead saguaro cactus out there. My uncle in Phoenix had chihuahuas his whole adult life. It's kind of a desert thing. And when I lived in Phoenix as a kid in the 70s, my dad as well, my father, he had a thing for chihuahuas. And they were twins, and I started to think this is a genetic thing. But slowly I realized that people in the desert like to keep chihuahuas. They especially like those genetic accident, mongrel, like wiener dog chihuahuas. And they live in 20, 25, 35 years. Like a parrot. And they're just as mean. So, when I was growing up, I was hanging out with my uncle in Phoenix one beautiful July. And I said, look, beyond the obvious, and the obvious for him is he taught his last chihuahua. He had 2 or 3 over 40, 45 years. He taught it to run into the corner and stand up on its head. And he'd give it a little bite of a rolled taco. But I asked him, I said, Don, why do you keep those awful dogs? And he said, well, Ken, I keep them because they don't give one damn if it's 120 degrees outside. And sure enough, they don't. It can be 110, 120, and the chihuahuas are weirdly active. They don't care, you know? It was in the late 1700s when the dog breeding people first noticed the chihuahua in the state of Chihuahua in Mexico. They saw them running out among the cactus and the yucca. No, they're not natives. They have only 4% of their original DNA. Their DNA from the dog set came mostly across the land bridge, the Bering Land Bridge. They may have come over in boats as well. But by the time we reach the point in history where we've got catastrophic climate change but we can all get DNA tests on our dogs, which is now. It was discovered that over the centuries, since European contact, contact's a nice word, that they lost 96% of their original DNA, but they kept their meanness, they kept their size, they kept their longevity. So welcome to 29 Palms. 29 Palms is a long-term U.S. government science experiment. For 50 years now, we've been taking young hillbilly kids from like upstate New York or the Ohio Valley or wherever, and we put them out on this make-believe war base out north of here just to see what happens. Put them out here in July, just in case. I think we're out of countries to use that environment on right now, but it's still here. It's an important part of our economy. It's why a lot of people settled here. It's why a lot of people fell in love with the desert. It usually happens like in December. Yeah, this time of year, people come around who haven't been here. And they just sort of look around and say, what do you think? It's different. People seem to have a lot of cars on their property. Which is unfair to the desert, because in the desert all is laid bare, all is revealed. We don't have ground cover, we don't have trees, we don't have things to hide the 14 cars per resident. 13 of them haven't run this century. But some people fall for it. Some people decide, this is for me. And it turns out a lot of the things that you worry about when you come to the desert, the dramatic stuff, is not really the stuff you have to worry about. Now and then a tourist disappears. Now and then an innocent 2-year-old child is pulled from the side of the campfire and beheaded and eaten by Yucca Man. But these are outliers. For the most part, the things we have to remember are, go get your moles checked. Desert residents know this. I've been to dinner parties where respectable people go into deep half-hour medically explicit conversations about getting their moles removed. So you gotta get that checked. And all the dermatologists are plastic surgeons too, if you have the money. So yeah, no skin cancer this time, but the sun's kind of done a number on you, hasn't it? I can fix that if you got the money or the credit. Palm Springs is full of them. A lot of us also end up seeing allergists. Now, I lived in this area for about a dozen years before I realized, I think there's something in the 80-mile-an-hour constant winds full of toxins and dust that's not working all right with me in my middle age. So I go see the allergist and they test you, they poison you with all these different things. And it turns out I'm allergic to everything in the desert. Western juniper? Yeah, that welt took 2 weeks to go away. Russian thistle? What some people foolishly call tumbleweed? Yeah, not good for you. But in a way, it's better than the normal doctors you have, say, in Los Angeles. In Los Angeles, the normal doctor is a therapist. A therapist is a special kind of doctor that can't help you in any way if you get hurt or sick. Now, maybe they could call 911 if you're choking on a breath mint or something. And maybe when the cop shows up, he'll just shoot your chihuahua. It could work out. The way things are out here, with the topography especially, you tend to be able to see everything that's on somebody's 5-acre parcel from about a half mile away. You can count all the cars, the cargo containers, the old school bus. And then one day it's all gone, because the Airbnb real estate speculator got here. And old Mr. Tommy's gone. They haul off his 14 cars. They haul off the school bus, the storage containers. They throw a coat of paint on the cabin. They sweep out the larger black widows and scorpions. And then, you've noticed this if you live out here or visit. Then they take 2 pieces of corrugated tin and they tack them up vertically on either side of the driveway, like on some 2x4s and some ready mix. And now it's no longer Mr. Timmy's where you don't go by if it's any time of the month. Now it's an Airbnb called Ragweed Manor. $300 a night. Last we heard from Mr. Timmy, he was in Kingman, Arizona. He wanted to go to Bullhead City, but he got priced out. So it's one of the things we're dealing with in this place. It's nice to have an economy for once, other than the Marine base. But it'd be nice to have an economy where the people who have been here for a long time can stay, too. So it's not quite figured out yet. It kind of goes from town to town. Yucca Valley has a vacation rental ordinance. San Bernardino County is a funny thing about San Bernardino County. San Bernardino County had never heard of the Morongo Basin until about 2018, when one of the county supervisors, before he went to prison, because that's what happens with all of them, his stepdaughter said, "Hey, I saw on Instagram that there's all these cool places up there. We got to go up there and check that place out." So we're starting to get some regulations in that department. But when the fad goes, and the fad will go, I think another 5 or 6 of these heat domes should do it. People will start thinking of the high desert like they thought of Newark in 1969. A place of strife and weirdness. But we like it weird. We like the strife in small doses. And we get used to things. We get used to putting on oven mitts before we go out to open the car door.